Hello, welcome back to Crafting with Slavie. I am here to show you the first of my holiday card series. Yay! So this is a really simple card. I didn't think it was going to be this simple and easy when I first designed it, but I'm actually quite happy with it. So I started with an A2 card base, and I used the Stitched Pond from Lawn Fawn. That's Stitched Pond from Lawn Fawn. And I went ahead and heat embossed the greeting from Mice on Ice, which says happy, as well as a trail with the heart on it. And I knew I wanted to make this into a shaker card, so I put this on the bottom. If you have acetate that you can heat emboss on, it would work on top of the acetate also. But I wanted to try it in the bottom and just see how it did. And I actually really like the results, so I'm quite happy with it. And I went ahead and melted the silver embossing powder. And then I went and did my ink blending. And that's so that I wouldn't have to wait for the ink blending to dry before I did my heat embossing. So on this part of the card, I'm using tumbled glass from Distress Ink. And I'm just going around the edges a little bit to give it that snowy look. Because the idea is that these mice are skating on a pond. So tumbled glass on this part, and then the other part I used Mermaid Lagoon, and it just seemed really fitting because it's water, but it's very, very clear water, and I actually really loved the results with the Mermaid Lagoon. I think it was a really good choice. And on camera, it kind of looks like it takes away from the silver embossing, but it really doesn't. You can see it very, very well. And then, of course, because it is ice, I am splattering it with water. I didn't use anything else, just water, and I used a paper towel to soak up some of that ink. And it creates these really pretty splotches. I don't know how well you can see it. It doesn't translate that great on camera. And then, because this part of the card is snow, I am using a little bit of liquid stardust to create that sparkle effect. And this is a really good time to remind you that if you are liking what you're seeing, please hit the like button. Also hit subscribe so you are, and the notification bell so you are notified of new content as I come out with it. So that was the base of the card, and I set that off to the side to dry, and then I just colored these cute little mice. This is really simple coloring. It is just these two mice. I don't have anything else to color, so I just colored them with my warm grays. I went a little bit darker. I don't know why. I just felt like I wanted to go darker. And then I used a little bit of R20 on their cheeks and noses. And then I went in with red and green just for simple coloring. So I'm going to take a step back and finish up, and then we will talk about assembly. Okay, so then to finish off my greeting, I just took a scrap piece of white paper, and I am going to heat emboss again in silver the sentiment, and it says holidays. So my sentiment when it's done is going to say happy holidays. And I use the everyday sentiment banners to cut this out. And when I was done, I went ahead and I'm assembling my card. So I am using a little bit of, oh my gosh, Post-it tape. That's what it's called, Post-it tape. I've got my card base prepped at the bottom there, and I did a little bit of a boo-boo-boo, which you'll notice as I rip it off in a second. I actually adhered the pond upside down, and because this is going to be a shaker card, I just wanted to adhere the pond. But, oh, here I go. Wait for it. Wait for it. Almost. Burnish it on there real good. There we go. Yep, that moment of panic. It's okay. Just take it off. I just did the same process again and adhered it on the right way. Notice me checking to make sure that it's the right way. And then when I was done with that, I started putting foam adhesive on the back of that tumbled glass panel that's left remaining. And the way to do this, you have a few different options. So, oh, sorry, before I did that, I had a piece of acetate. So this card is actually an A2 card. And I cut down a piece of acetate. Of course, an A2 card is 5.5 by 4.25. My piece of acetate was 5.25 by 4 inches. And I am using score tape because it adheres really well to acetate. And I'm just using my 1/8 inch score tape to go around the edges because I do have a rectangle shaped piece of acetate. So you don't have to worry about making it fit the right size of whatever cutout you have. Just go with a basic shape. And the way that I like to adhere acetate is I like to lift the score tape just on 2 corners like that. And then I line up my piece of acetate and press down. And then I pull away those pieces and it adheres perfectly flat. Just a little tip for you. So, as I was saying, when you are making a shaker card, you have a couple of different options. You can do what I am doing here, which is to say that I am using a foam tape that I've folded in on itself to create a double layer. Or you can cut out multiples of the same shape out of an A2 panel and adhere those panels together to create that dimension that you're looking for. Now, depending on the shape of your cutout, it might be easier to do this, or it might be easier to cut out multiples of that panel. So I will be showing you how to do it the opposite way, I think, in a future card video relatively soon, because it's part of my holiday card series. I do want to make a few more shaker cards just because I love them so much. But in this case, I am using the foam tape. So other tips about the foam tape is, and I didn't want to just leave it here. I know some of you are probably asking, well, why didn't you just leave it there and make the whole thing a shaker? You can do that, but if you want to mail this, it's not going to make it very stable. And the middle might collapse. So it is a good idea to try and follow that shape. Now you'll notice that I took the green backer off of that whole piece. And that is because if you have it cut down to 1/4 inch, like I do here, it does become more malleable if you take the protective wrapper off of it. And I ran out of 1/4 inch. I didn't want to dig for more, so I just took my 1/2 inch foam tape and did the same thing, just cut it in half. And I did cut off the corners because you want to make sure that it is nice and sealed and your stuff for the shaker isn't going to go anywhere. And once that was done, I did kind of try and go back and fill it in all over the place. I didn't keep those pieces. Don't feel like you have to keep pieces. It's always nice to use everything that's on your desk, but if you can't figure out how to use scraps, just toss them, because otherwise they are just taking up and making your desk super cluttered. So when this was done, then I got to put together my insides of my shaker. Now, for those of you who have not made shaker cards before, or for those of you who have made shaker cards before, less is more, my friends. Because I have my sentiment, part of my sentiment, underneath the shaker portion, I want to make sure that as my stuff is shaking around in there, it is not going to completely block off my sentiment. So this is, I think this is Studio Katya. It's just some really pretty snowflake stuff. And then I have multi-sized sequins in just like a white iridescent. And then I added a few gems, which are just clear gems. They kind of look like cubic zirconias. They're really cute, but you'll see I don't have a lot in there. And the one thing that I didn't do, and I should have, is before I adhered this to my card base, I should have went around the inside with my anti-static powder tool and just to help remove that adhesive so that the sequins wouldn't stick. It ended up not being too big of a deal because, again, I don't have a lot in there, but that is something that you can do to get it to not stick. So then I went ahead and adhered the holidays and my little mice, and I'm almost done this card, but at the very end you will see just how cute it is when you shake those things around, and you can't even tell how little sequins and stuff we used for the shaker. So it is a really great, a little card. Didn't take very long to make, and you can absolutely reproduce this. So here we go. Still getting that right effect, but I just find that it's not as cluttered. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate all of you and that you've taken the time out of your day to watch my card videos. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!